Hello and welcome to another week of writing and publishing books. These videos have a 6-week difference between the moment I create them and the time they go live on YouTube, so here's a thing you haven't heard in a while. Happy New Year! Today is January 1st and I'm still in Greece. Naturally, I didn't do much work today, being on holiday and all, but after eating I had to take care of some big picture things that I've been mulling over the past weeks. Pardon me for the not so diverse footage, but walking poker was the most interesting thing that happened today, at least visually. First off, I wanted to work on the process, or rather the way that I work with a couple of the people I have daily interactions with. Also, I looked into what might be needed to launch a Sci-Fi imprint for my publishing company. I made a list of the tasks that need to be taken care of and who's going to take care of what. Then I looked at a few series that I'd like to start with in regards to translations and sent out a few filler emails or rather scheduled them for tomorrow. I try to avoid sending emails on non-working hours and days, with some exceptions of people I feel more comfortable with, again being as respectful as I can, of course. I was not planning on writing today at all, but once I carried out these tasks, I was ready to get back to the developmental edits of my outline. My editor left quite a few notes over the past days, so I worked on them for around an hour. I wasn't able to get up to date with them, but at least I'm a good way ahead of where I am in regards to writing the actual story, meaning I have quite a few thousand words of outline already edited before I get to an unedited part. Hopefully, I will get to write tomorrow as well as the rest of the week, and hopefully finish the developmental edits by the end of next weekend. In any case, this was my New Year's Monday. January 2nd is technically a working day, but I decided to get back to not going too hard with writing. Sadly, I wasn't able to get any footage for my working hours, so what you're seeing is the city of Ceres where I went for a walk later that day. In any case, I was happy to jump back in the story. Luckily, it hasn't been too long since I last wrote, so I was able to easily get back to it without having to read too far back. This is another reason why having an outline is great. I can take a break and get back to writing because I know where I left off and where I need to go next. That said, I only wrote 1.7 thousand words today. Not great, but any new words are good, and I feel that writing every day, that is 5 days a week for me, is more important than stressing over my goal, especially since I'm not back home and on my normal routine. As far as admin goes, I paid a narration invoice, sent an extra payment for a translation that I was invoiced the wrong amount, and then put on a video on one laptop and started formatting on the next. In general, I like watching people who run companies in different industries and understand how they operate. Seeing the challenges they face and how they tackle them, the processes they put in places at the scale up and things like that are very interesting to me. One such show is the YouTube channel Asheville, hosted by Daniel Luisi, an entrepreneur in the construction and aggregates business. So having that video on, I started formatting the release of a sequel to a lit RPG that is coming in 3 weeks. Not much happened today, but I think I'll be doing a lot more writing tomorrow. Funny how I kinda manifested more words for me today by thinking I'd be doing more writing. By the way, I didn't get any footage today, so please enjoy some videos I took from a trip I took the next day. Indeed, I got on with writing at around 11 AM and managed to write almost 2,000 words before it was time to move to our new and probably last Airbnb for this trip in Greece. I will be spending the remainder of this week and the whole next week here, in the center of Ceres, though I might be doing some day trips. After settling down at the place, I wrote a bit more and managed to hit almost 3.2 thousand words. Our heroes are being treated to a lavish 3-course magical meal with beverage pairing. This was such a fun sequence of scenes to write, especially because I take great pleasure in combining moments we've all experienced in our lives, like eating out, with magic twists. On this occasion, it was levitating skewers and a dessert that resembled a garden that bloomed once watered by a magical concoction. With writing done, I worked on a few emails, mainly from people I work with. I was contacted by our audiobook distributor about a couple of upcoming releases and carried out some payments. I also made sure the newsletter for tomorrow's release was looking good and finally got in touch with one of our translators, from whom I'm waiting on a book by the end of this week. I shut down the laptop at around 6 p.m. and visited some family. Tomorrow, I'll be traveling to my hometown. Today was a very low productivity day in terms of words written and even admin tasks. I traveled some 80 kilometers to my hometown to see some friends and family in the morning and then returned in the afternoon. I only wrote like 58 words, and the only non-writing tasks that I carried out were connected to these weekly videos. I did receive quite a few emails, but I did not respond to almost any of it. So I don't want to drag this part of the video too much. Some days are work days and some days are not. I know that working for yourself is kind of hard to distinguish between them, but I'm counting this one as my first day off for 2024. Perhaps I'll do more tomorrow. Well, I didn't do more at all. At least not in terms of writing. But I did work on a few things that didn't require as much concentrated effort as writing does. Namely, I moved forward with my plan to expand to science fiction translations. By the way, the footage that you're seeing is from a park we visited and Poco got to play with a very loving stray that was shaped like a miniature polar bear. Back to my sci-fi expansion plan. I had already drafted the tasks needed in order to launch this, and even though I am at least 3 months away from putting out any science fiction translations, I thought I'd get ready for it. First of all, I need a name. I was already thinking about this for a few days and was gravitating towards complex names. The pattern I try to follow is including the word two, zwei in German, because my publishing house is called Zweihander Publishing. So our romance imprint is called Zwei Herzen Verlag, meaning Two Hearts Publishing. Our crime thrillers imprint is Zwei Dolche, which is Two Daggers. For science fiction, I was thinking of something with black holes, so started with two black holes and then continued with the notion of merging black holes or even binary black holes. However, those names are quite complicated in German, so I asked a few friends and ultimately settled on Zwei Monde Verlag, meaning Two Moons Publishing. It's simple, straightforward, and I think has great potential as a logo. Which was the next step in the process? I contacted the person who created our previous logo and gave them a full description of what I was looking for, along with some general vibe directions. In general, when I work with artists, I choose ones that I trust their judgment and then mainly let them do what they know best. The next two tasks are connected to our newsletter list. Essentially, we need a newsletter landing page for sci-fi readers where they'll be asked to fill out their email addresses if they want to stay up to date with more sci-fi releases. Their addresses will be collected on our newsletter list as a separate sci-fi only group, which is something that I haven't done and am not planning on learning at the moment. For this reason, I contacted the person who carried this task out the last time we did something like this and asked them if they can do it again, this time for science fiction. The last task is to create a sci-fi section on our website, zweihanderbooks.com. I will probably have to do this on my own at some point, but I'm not going to bother with it until I have the first translated covers and pre-orders of books ready. Luckily, the person who created our website has also made some great YouTube video tutorials, so if I follow those tutorials, it should not be too hard. Other than that, I formatted another Lit RPG release and took care of some communications that were overdue because of the holidays. I might not have written a single word today, but I feel like it was a very productive day. After all, these were all things that needed to be done, and since I was not able to write today, it means that I won't be doing them next week when I will, hopefully, be able to write. And this brings us to the end of my first 2024 episode. I hope you enjoyed watching this quite unorthodox episode, and I would supremely appreciate you subscribing. I hope that next week there will be more writing and talking about my new story. Till then, take care everyone. Okay, bye!